What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Nick with Leverage Media, and today I want to talk to you about how you should be thinking about spending money on marketing. So I had a couple of not sales calls today, but like conversations, I guess, like after the sales call, where one, I had to talk to a team member to go through more of the details on the pricing. Another one, I had to answer a couple of questions that people had, and I wanted to. It gave me they both had a little bit of the same issue, and I wanted to take the opportunity to really explain how I think you should be thinking about spending your money on marketing. So, as chiropractors, we don't always have, the biggest budgets or unlimited amounts of money to spend on different avenues, or like throwing money after things that we have no idea if they're going to work or not. But I think on a previous video, maybe a week before this, I talked about the amount that you should be spending on your marketing, and that it's not exactly, I always thought it was 10% of how much you were collecting, but I heard a different way of thinking about it. It's actually 12%, and it's 12% of where you want to grow to. So, that's a lot more for some people than what they are currently spending on marketing. So if you agree with me on that, and you are like, man, I'm spending 4% or 5% of my collections right now on marketing, and where am I going to spend the money? You don't want to be stupid about it. You don't want to just like light money on fire. But the way that I think that you should be thinking about marketing is that if you believe in the idea, there's no guarantees in marketing. There's no way to know, even if it's like, it sounds like the best idea in the world. Other people have gotten amazing results. Your friends have told you you've got to do this. Doesn't matter any of that. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is, what actually happens when you implement it, when your team follows up with these people, when you create the content, whatever it might be. So there are no guarantees in life, and there's definitely no guarantees in marketing. Something that works over here may not work for you. But the only thing that you have control over before you have started marketing is you can, internally you can feel whether you usually have a good sense of, does this sound like bullshit, or does this sound like something that should work? If executed correctly, this should work. When you feel that, and you can see the path of how you're going to make money off of this, not just like, oh, this is gonna make me feel good, or we're gonna build the brand. I'm air quoting if you're listening on the podcast. But what is the route to a positive ROI? And the reason I brought up the calls I had earlier today is both of the offices are huge offices, like, collect a ton of money. They probably should be spending, I don't know, $10,000, $15,000 a month on advertising, on marketing and advertising, I guess. And neither one of them are anywhere near where they should be. And the things that they are spending money on are really just, pretty much running a coupon on Facebook and their websites. And so, I've had strategy sessions with them. I've explained like how, comprehensive what we do is, how all these things work together, and how it's better to have it under one roof, because, we can make sure that it's all integrated together instead of like 3 or 4 separate companies working on different processes and whatever. And all of them, everybody, when we do these strategy sessions and I kind of lay out like what it is that we do and how we do it and why we do it, I don't know if I've ever like talked to someone that's just like, oh, I don't think that that's a good idea. Everybody thinks it's a good idea. It's just a matter of whether they want to A, invest the time and energy in creating the content, and B, if they, if they have the money available or they're willing to pull the trigger. The ones that always kind of confound me are the one, and I'm just probably bad at sales, but the ones that confuse me are the ones where I know that they agree with me. I know that they think this is the way to do it. And, our pricing is like super duper reasonable for all the things that we do. So, but there's a lot of people that have big successful practices that are basically spending the same amount of money on like mediocre marketing now, and they just don't pull the trigger. And the reason why is that I think that chiropractors as a whole, and probably small business owners as a whole, are scared to be wrong. So, what we do is complicated and there's a lot of moving parts. And sometimes I may not explain all the different parts and why we do it this way and why we don't do it that way. And sometimes it can be, I think, a little bit overwhelming, especially like when I hit it all in one phone call. And so I think that when people get confused, that's what, StoryBrand's all about, is clarifying your message. A confused mind doesn't buy. And when people hear too much detail, it's kind of like with your patients. When you get too much into the details of like all the line items of the care plan and like, here's what we're going to do and here's why we're going to, like, if you just stay focused on them and their life effect and how we're going to, make these changes, it's easier for them to get the yes. Once you start adding in more information, it gives them more and more things to worry about, wonder about, think about, question. And they start to get further and further away from starting care. And so to kind of come back to the point of the video, which is how should you be thinking about marketing? Number one is, if you're going to be working with an agent, if you're doing it by yourself, you'll know the things that resonate with you and they'll be your ideas so you can execute whatever you want. But I'm talking more about like if you're working with a company or an agency. If you're doing that, listen to what it is that they're saying. Try to understand like, why is it that they're doing it this way? Is it good for them or is it good for you? Every agency should be making their decisions that are best for the clients, not just what's easiest for them, what's the most scalable for them, what's the most profitable for them. Unfortunately, a lot of the decisions get made that way. But you need to decide, does this make sense? Does this strategy, not only is it going to be profitable, but is it going to help me grow my brand and grow the business? So that's number one. Number two is you need to maximize, especially if you're doing it, if you're paying an agency fee, you need to maximize the amount of money that you're spending on ad spend. Let's say that you're spending, like the kind of like the average Facebook ad agency out there is probably $1,000 to $1,500. So let's call it $1,000 an agency fee. Then they're wanting you to spend $500, $750, maybe $1,000 on ad spend. Well, as long as they are not exhausting the audience completely, like if you could spend $1,500 instead of $1,000 and get 50% more leads, and those leads convert, at the same percentage that the first $1,000 of leads did, then it makes sense. You're getting more value by spending more on the ad spend side of it, because the agency fee is fixed, unless they're charging you more on the agency fee as you spend more, which they really shouldn't be, and I don't think very many of them do that. But if you're going to be spending more, getting more leads, getting more customers in, and your cost per conversion, meaning like how much does it cost to get somebody in the office and get them to convert to a care plan? If it's, I don't know, say $150 and your care plan is $1,500, well, you got to do that math all day long. If you can get 10X, and that's just on the first care plan, right? Or maybe that's your lifetime value. But do you take into account referrals that those people send in? So it's just like, you've got to know your numbers, but you need to make sure that you're maximizing that ad spend if you are working with an agency, because the agency fee is done. You've already paid that. That's a fixed cost. That's a sunk cost. They're really like, you could pay an agency, if they never spend $1 on ad spend, you're never going to make any money on them, running ads for you. So making sure that you're choosing the agencies that you think have strategies that are really going to be the best, and make sure you're talking to different agencies and different ideas and different strategies. And I think most offices have kind of started to move beyond, or have started to realize that they need to move beyond just running the coupon on Facebook. Unfortunately, the agencies have not really moved beyond that. So think about the strategy first. Once you're in it though, now you want to make sure that you're maximizing not only the ad spend, but also all of the bells and whistles that come along with the service. Like if you're working with a website company, you want to make sure that you understand, like, what is it that you're paying for? Take advantage of the things that you're paying for. We have clients all the time that are happy and satisfied, but they underutilize the things that are available to them. And we do our best to explain it and remind them and show them. And some are just like, I'm fine. Like I don't want to spend the extra time or energy on doing that or implementing that. But this is what you're paying people for, is number one, for ideas, and number two, for execution. So be sure to, to wrap all this up in a bow, the way that you should be thinking about marketing is look for the best ideas, look for the most comprehensive strategies. Number two is maximize your budget when it comes to the ad spend that you can track in terms of those turning into patients. And if that's an ROI positive thing, you got to keep spending money on it. And then number three is maximize the features and the benefits that come along with working with a company. A lot of times, like as agencies, we add things on kind of like as we go, and we're always worried about and like talking about the newest, greatest thing. But there may be this feature that we added on 5 months ago that it would be a game changer for you. So just really understand what is it that comes with the package, what are the services that are offered, and why you should be using them. So hopefully that helps you guys think a little bit about how you should be thinking about marketing, and hopefully that helps you get out there more and make better decisions. So if you have any questions, let me know, and we'll see you on the next one.